Everyone, this is Otsu, and this is Observations with Otsu. I'm glad you guys can join us. It's been like 8 weeks. I can't remember how many weeks it's been. I don't really care to count either. It's been about 6 to 8, maybe even 9. And so a lot of things on the plate today. I am back from my trip. If you guys have not known, I've basically been on a 40-day trip going to various countries. Philippines was the main one. We were there for about 25 of those 40 days, maybe a little more than that. Most of the time we spent there, various islands. Fantastic. I recommend everybody to do something like that if they can. I mean, it's not as expensive as you might think. I can probably break that down in another video if you like. I'm actually thinking about opening another YouTube series where I talk more about personal finance because that's kind of my edge in the crypto world. That where I went from $50 to where I am today over the course of about 6 years. So I didn't go as fast as others, but I still did my own pace, and I still made it, so to speak. There's lots more making it to go, so don't think I'm just retired or nothing either. But spent time in the Philippines, Singapore, Doha, which I didn't know was a country, honestly, and various other places. So it was great. It was fantastic. Part of that, however, was I had to take my analysis a little more on the back seat. And so I didn't really mean to do that, honestly. The idea was that I would go there and still continue to do my my Monday videos, my observations videos, which is this, and then my midweek videos, which used to be called Crypto and Coffee, but I might switch that up. The problem was between the time difference, various things. We had power outages. For some reason, the heat gave me a headache pretty much constantly. So I was about 2 weeks into it before I could get adjusted, and I was like, well, we're going to be leaving in 2 weeks, so I decided to postpone it. And so I apologize for that. It was a combination of things. Wasn't trying to leave anybody hanging. Guess what? The market sucks. It sucked the entire time that I was gone, which also gave me not as much motivation to focus on the charts. There was nothing to trade. I traded maybe 3 times in my entire 40 days, and all 3 were losses. So I think one of them might have been break even, but didn't lose that much money. But also, there was nothing to trade really. So, and so that leads us to here. I'll do a little few preliminary things, and we'll get into the actual video. So first things first, I'm gonna just first of all, I'm getting back into the content of things, getting into the square of things, more charts. Almost everything is going to be exactly how I had it before. I'm going to have observations with Otsu on Monday mornings, Sunday nights, depending on where you are, possibly even Monday nights, depending on where you are. Those are not going to change. Wednesday, the midweek analysis. So the observations is weekly open analysis, and looking at how the week has shaped, what we can expect for the next week to come. Usually Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then Wednesdays, usually about Wednesdays, depending on where you live, I have a midweek analysis. Used to be called Crypto and Coffee. I think I will change the name, but I haven't quite decided. But there's actually going to be two new series. I'm going to have 2 new video series available. One's going to be more educational based. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to talk about yet, but it's going to be very educational. The other one is going to be I haven't quite decided what the title is going to be, but it's going to be more like critical crypto. I think that's the placeholder text for it. But it's going to be much more of a harsher, like unfiltered type of video series, and it's not. Some of it will be trading, some of it won't be, some of it will be looking at coins on CoinGecko or whatever. But the whole point is I'm going to show you more of the reality of crypto things. Mainly because I'm so tired of the fluff, tired of people. There's so many people out there. The meme coins were a recent example of this, is that everybody's trying to sell you on some dumb thing. And I'm not saying don't buy, the meme coins or nothing like that. The idea is like, there's so many things at play. There's bad actors at play. There's so much fluff. Um, there's so many things that I'm just so tired of. I'm tired of the fakeness. I'm tired of the looking into the other direction for things. So this is going to be not necessarily going to be narking or nothing like that. It's just going to be more of an unfiltered thing. Like I'm going to talk about the market in more reality, and so I think it's going to be a little more mature. I mean, it's not like I'm going to be cussing or anything like that, but it's like I'm going to talk more real about the crypto world, and so that might be useful to you because maybe your P&L, maybe you haven't seen the same amount of profits as somebody else has. Well, that's because a lot of people are not profitable actually, and you are just as normal as those people are. They're just faking it. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about how many people are actually faking it on Twitter, and I'm probably going to get some haters, but I'm hoping this generates a good audience. If not, cast it aside. But for now, I'm going to slate that in, and I'm also working on a third series about personal finance as well. So that one's not quite in the picture yet, but I'm hoping to. In addition to that, Apex Academy 2.0 is coming up. It's going to be coming up next month. I'm excited to roll that out. So with the next few weeks, I'm going to start getting the alerts set up, getting people rounded up, doing the marketing for that. And I say marketing, I just mean awareness. I'm not trying to sell you on this, but it has helped previous people before. The last academy, we had about 30 people, and I think every single one of them had something really good to say about it. It also has helped me gain a few network, connections and even friends, so to speak. Like it helps build so many things. It helps you learn how to trade, and there's really something for everyone. Unless you're just like an uber expert, honestly, there's something for everyone. You're going to learn more about yourself. You're going to learn more about the markets. You're going to learn about how other people trade, and most importantly, you're going to get one of the most underrated parts of the academy is you are going to get near 24/7, unless I'm sleeping. You're going to get priority access to me. We will be able to chat. We will be able to converse. And a lot of people thought that was worth the money alone, just to be able to talk to me as much as they can for as dumb as the questions that they have. And no question's dumb necessarily, but it's about the approach. But some people were in my DMs 24/7 basically, and I would answer whenever I could, and that right there was worth the money for some people. It used to be $500 for a 3 month is a 12-week course for $500. I think I'm going to reduce that. I'm going to shave a few things that may or may not be different, but I'll work that out. But anyway, that's kind of a ballpark. If you're interested in that, keep following my Twitter, or even reply on this video and tell me that you're interested in that. So with all that being said, gonna get into the market. Let's talk Bitcoin. Let's talk Ethereum. All right, so let's get started. We're gonna go to Bitcoin. And so as you may know from previous videos, I used to do total market cap, go from the weekly, blah blah blah. And long story short, it just makes my videos too long, and so I've been wanting to get them shorter. And the best way to do it is just to get rid of it. Bitcoin has enough correlation on its own that I'm just going to focus on Bitcoin first and only, as far as comparing it to other, coins in the market. Bitcoin has always been a leader in the market. Bitcoin and Ethereum combined focus on like 99.999% of all the correlation in the crypto sphere. So that's why I'm doing it. I don't focus on. I'll recap this a little bit. I don't focus on stocks. I don't look at the S&P. I don't look at Forex. I don't look at any of that stuff. I don't look at silver and gold. None of those are really correlative in my experience and my very strong educated opinion to really focus on. A lot of people do it. I personally don't. I found no profit in doing so. 99% of people don't as well. They just don't want to admit it. And I can go a little harsher into that, but that's probably a topic for that unfiltered video that I will probably mention. So I'm going to go into this. to get started, we're going to look at the weekly first. Go on to the 1 week chart. I might leave this up here. The buy and sell is actually my Apex Academy script, so I might toggle that on as we go. I'm going to leave it blank for now. And one thing that we can see here is we've been on a downtrend for roughly a month and a half. Excuse me. We had the lows from here. As you guys may have known from previous videos, I was a buyer here. I still have that in Bitcoin. I'm not afraid of this going lower. I'm not afraid of it even going below 20,000. I don't think it will, but it's possible. We had the uptrend expansion over that. We kind of had a rounded top, had expansion again. Now we have a rounded top again. So now it remains to be said, how is this going to go? It's been a very choppy market, but if we zoom out to this 1 week chart, we can see that we've been in a downtrend. It's been pretty formulaic so far. So it's one thing to say, and I'm looking at this for pretty much the first or second time since I've been back. So it's one of those things. This isn't necessarily surprising from a high time frame perspective. Nothing has really been going on. The only thing that's been going on is people have been trading pointless price action, and they're losing money for no reason. And so that's why I say these things. Like, I don't force a trade. Like, it's very cliche to hear those things as well, but don't make a trade if there's nothing to trade. I can tell you this. Like, I went on a 40-day vacation where I spent money that I had saved up from crypto. Okay, like those are things that I had saved up and spent because it was a time to trade at that point, and I realized those profits, and I spent those profits at a time where I'm not trading. What if I just stayed home for 40 days and just traded this crap fest instead, right? And I'm not blaming anybody, nothing like that. But what I do want to say is there is a time to trade, and there's a time to go not trade or enjoy or do something else. There's a time, you should be doing one of two things. You should be trading, or you should be not trading with the goal of maintaining or building your portfolio. So you always should be maintaining and building your portfolio, but you should either be doing it one while the trading market is good and do so by trading, or do so when the trading is not good and do so where it's get a part-time job or a full-time job, or maybe most of you guys have full-time jobs. I run my own business, so that's where I get my capital preservation from, and that's smart to do. I think it's very stupid to say, like, well, of course you're not going to lose money because you got a job. Well, I made that. I quit my own job years ago, and partly to live with the crypto lifestyle, but I also started my own business as well, and it's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, preserve your capital. It's just playing it smart, right? Like, I also, as you guys may know on Twitter, like, we have a condo in the Philippines now, and part of that was an investment opportunity, and it's already above value from when we bought it last year. It's up about 60%. We found a really good opportunity where the market was hot, a fantastic location, and we've already profited from it. Those are the time. Like, there's a time to strike and there's a time to wait. And so with that, we're waiting. Some things we're not waiting. Some things we're trading. Some things we're just trying to accumulate, money or clients, whatever. So you play the market as you see the opportunity. There's no opportunity right here. You just kind of ride this out. So it's one of these things where you could have sold, going back to the chart here, you had this little overthrow right here. You could have sold when it deviated below here. I think that's a pretty fair game. I think I sold a little bit there in anticipation of my trip. So that's one thing that you could have done. But as far as the high time frame perspective, I don't think I would have shorted this. One thing I do see is you have this bullish expansion right here. And so as a result of that, I'm looking at the part where this overthrew, which is the top of this right here. You have a double top right here. So you had a bullish price action, downward, bullish expansion. So the obvious answer would be it would retest at 24.2, let's say 24.3. that's where I'm looking at for a major bounce move. I also see how that's relative to the 50 RSI coming up. So that right there is a perfect time for me, in my opinion, to make a very strong buy-in. And so that's where I'm looking at to buy in even more so. I am not a fan of this going lower. I think most people have given up the narrative of going to 4 digits. I don't think it will. I do think the rest of the year is going to be pretty lackluster, but I don't think it's going to be a bad one. I think the opportunity for the next 6 months to buy is here and now. I'm not interested, in buying and selling short term, 60-minute positions, 4-hour positions necessarily. I'm much more interested in getting a solid price for the next 2 years, and that's Bitcoin, Ethereum, doesn't matter, right? So you got that in play. Zoom into the daily, we could see this deviation that happened. We even had the retest to confirm that. So we kind of have this going on. I probably would not have shorted this. Like I said, it's much more of a take profit position. I don't know if there was any. There was a slight divergence here, so it could have been shorted. I typically don't like shorting big positions like that anyway. We had the liquidity to confirm us there. We had one here, but that ended up getting tested. So now we're kind of in this zone. We failed this. I would have much rather shorted the retest here. So like, you had the rounded top deviation, you had the retest. I may have shorted that, I don't know, but there's no, I probably would have shorted this candle, which probably wasn't the best short, and that's one reason I don't short, because the R&R is not really there. But the second confirmation would have been okay. Looks like you might have a little bit of a wedge in play. Again, I'm not really shorting this. I'm just kind of letting it play out. I would like to see this expand upward. I am kind of getting tired of the choppy price action. Most of you are. So that's one thing. I would like to see the RSI go above 50 first, however. Here you got this overthrow expansion again. It's another key area I'm looking at. Very close to the target on the weekly, which was this dotted line. So a lot of things are coming together, but as far as the actual price action, honestly, I really do, as much as I want to give you something to trade, like there's nothing much really to trade here from my perspective. I would rather wait for 24.3 to happen, buy much higher with size, that way it matters. And that's the thing, I'm not going to BS you guys on take a trade here, take a trade here. No, preserve your money, wait for a good opportunity, okay? A lot of you guys have jobs. A lot of you guys don't have the money that other people have. A lot of you guys have families that you have to feed and depend on. And here's the thing. I would rather you get mad at me. You shouldn't get mad at me. But I'd rather you get mad at me for not trading and preserving your money to thank me a year or two from now and say, hey, Otsu, like, thank you for this, for telling me not to trade, not to stay addicted to my dopamine addiction, and only trade when it matters. Because right now, I'm not bullish or bearish on the chart right here. I'm bullish on my family life. I'm bullish on my vacation that I took, and be able to enjoy that for the months to come, to realize what I took for granted, how the opportunity that I had for that. We plan on doing that again, probably next year actually. And so those things, I'm bullish on life in that respect. I don't mean to be cheesy, but like, if the markets aren't bullish, be bullish on something else. Be bullish on something else. So but for right now, save your money, in my opinion. So 4 hour, we kind of got this wedge in play, kind of consolidating. We had the deviation above, so we're kind of ranging. And this right here, the fluctuation here is a good sign that there's just not a lot of market participants either. And so what that tells you is you're going to have a little bit of illiquidity concerns, and that's another reason why I think the market will go down a little bit. Because right now, the market is too high. The 27,000 is too high for people like me that bought in at 15, 16,000, and a lot of other people too. Some people want to buy lower, or they want to wait till a higher price. So when you have a lack of liquidity, it's a sign that nobody wants to buy or sell typically. And the longer that we sit in the illiquidity zone, the more we try to wrestle with, well, who really wants to buy, who really wants to sell, and so that's where you get that. And so, you know, long story, too long didn't read, too long didn't watch, whatever. We're stuck in a little bit of, we're stuck in a weird zone, right? I think a lot of people are interested to buy once we get to 30,000. A lot of people want to buy lower, and I honestly don't think that we're gonna get. It's worst case scenario. I think is becoming the most likely is that it's just gonna be a boring market for the next 3 to 4 months, and it's possible. It's very possible. But look at that as a sign that you can buy at good levels. A market that stays sideways for 2 months isn't necessarily a bad market. It's just gives you a good opportunity to buy at those levels, right? We had that here, right? Nobody wanted to buy at these levels, but you had plenty of time to do so. And that's the same thing. You had plenty of time to buy in this level, plenty of time to buy in this level. Nobody did this, or this. So it's like you got to take advantage of that. Don't focus on, oh, there's nothing to trade today or trade tonight or tomorrow. Like, no, like what's happening in the past 6 months, 60 days, last 2 months, and see like what does this look like in the bigger context. Maybe 27,000 is a good deal 2 years from now. And so if you have an extra money to spare, an extra 1% of your net worth or whatever, that you can wait for 2 months or 2 years, sorry. Maybe that's a good deal, maybe it's not. It depends on you. So right now, I see this as a good opportunity to zoom out, look and see what the opportunities lie ahead for the next year, and move on from that. But level to level, we're kind of stuck in these two levels, and I really would like to see more price action from that, but we're just dealing with that for now. All right, so on to Ethereum. All right, let's go to Ethereum. I'm gonna make this a little quick. Weekly perspective. So we can look at this from the daily. I have this on here. Kind of flipped here. Flipped above, had the deviation, retest again. Now we're below this range. The problem is that we also have a consolidation block right here. And so I would mark it from top of the highs to the bottom of the lows. That's how I kind of do it. We're still above it. We're consolidating above. So that's still technically a little bit of a bullish consolidation underneath a bearish flip. That's very, not sure why it's there, but very, very strange. It's very abnormal. And so we can't really make much of that as far as like what we could expect with that alone. What we do see here is we have this Adam and Eve pattern that I talked about before. We had this flip up, and so it deviated below the Adam and Eve. So right now, for me, this is a little more bearish than I would expect. We're still above the 50 RSI, however. So again, I'm more bearish on this than I am bullish, and I'm even more bearish on this than I am Bitcoin. But the R&R isn't really there for me. I would much prefer to wait this to go down to a lower level, maybe like 1660, and possibly even lower to high 15s before I add on to anything. But I'm also satisfied with letting this go higher to $2,000. So unfortunately, there's not much else there. We have that bullish pattern here, so I'm looking at 1706. Right, I just try to look at put my finger at my screen, but where this is here, let's see, right there, about 1670, about 1700 or so. That's where I'm looking at for a buy, the 1658. I think that's a solid buy in my opinion. Go down to the daily, we saw that. Here's that deviation retest. So this was the time to short. It's not the time to short here because you got this fib marker here. Also, you have this one here as well. So you got, if it does break below 1770, I think 1550 is a good option there. And so that's the short would play out roughly like so. I target the top of the fib and go here. R&R of 2, which isn't really enough for me to take a position. I prefer at least 2.5, but that is solid enough for some people. So I just want to mention that. And then on the 4 hour, kind of got the rejection here. We're kind of got this arcing pattern, but nothing. Again, showing the illiquidity. Is it claiming the 50? We'll see how that goes. I would probably focus more on daily time frames and higher. As you can see, there's just not a lot of price action right now. And again, same thing is happening with Bitcoin. There's just a lack of buyers and also a lack of sellers. I mean, the sellers are not selling because they've bought so low already, or they've already sold. Whereas the buyers are interested at lower price levels, so it's or more stable levels. So, and, and the economy I think is getting better. I'm not into the whole CPI stuff, but it seems like it is getting better. It seems like people are looking at the U.S. debts, default ceiling, whatever that's called, and it is what it is. I do think the market has improved versus what it used to be, but I think people are still a little uncertain, and that could be why people are not trading, people are not investing, and this is the same with the housing market as well. So, I'm not trying to correlate that, but this does seem to be consistent across the board. So, anyway, that's observations for this week. Stay tuned for Wednesday when I have my midweek analysis, and I'll probably release some more content, more news, and especially Apex Academy and my bots. So stay tuned. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.